With more and more competing tools out there, and especially with the rise of powerful generative AI, it's a great time to ask, is Smartsheet the right solution for me? Why would I be using Smartsheet in 2025? I think it's a fair question, and I have been working with a lot of different tools and comparing them and trying to really make sure that it's the most value that we can provide our customers. What I have found when I work with Smartsheet is that although they have a great message about low-code platform and powerful collaboration, I think they don't actually hit the main point of why I try to leverage Smartsheet with my customers. I find that so many processes out there are a web of multiple people, multiple concepts, multiple stakeholders. And every time I've worked with tools like Monday or even Airtable, I have found that I can get pieces of those processes in, but I'm always running into very clear walls, and that is just a no. I'm going to have to work around that, and it's just not going to happen in this tool. What I have found with Smartsheet is that I really never hit a wall like this. Now, I'm not going to say Smartsheet is the best. I think it's truly a jack of all trades and a master of a little. But that also makes it very powerful to keep solving different problems, to keep breaking down barriers to processes that seem to not have a solution, seem to not have some sort of tool that can fit it. And what I mean by that is it's almost like you're working with Legos. When you're trying to build a solution in Smartsheet, you can create sheet by sheet, folder by folder, a solution that's really powerful and able to do all the items that you really need, especially because, like, for example, you would be forced to work with a database in a tool like Airtable, but sometimes Smartsheet needs you to have different formulas and different levels, kind of like Excel. I think the fact that Smartsheet is similar to Excel in ways, yet scalable, more like Airtable, is this perfect balance of being able to continue to keep up with a user's needs to develop more and more complex solutions. And yet, if they do it right, they can still keep it rock solid. I find that every time I work with users on setting up something, it's very hard for me to find a perfect apples to apples comparable tool, because maybe it does this piece as well as another, maybe this piece as well as another, but when you bring them all together, Smartsheet tends to have this powerful glue to make it so that all the pieces connect. Now, I will say, I think just like toys, if you were to, build a Lego car and then you were to go get a Tonka truck as well, the Tonka truck is more robust. It's going to be able to be thrown around by a kid, whereas that Lego car will probably break the first time and falls off a table. And that's the same way with Smartsheet. Smartsheet is going to be many sheets held together to make that solution. It's got to be well guarded and protected to work right. It is extremely flexible, but if you're looking for something that is more like a Tonka truck that's just so durable, you're probably going to have to build a robust, specific solution. And you're going to have to probably solve different problems with different solutions in that case. Now, one thing I mentioned to users is that I don't disagree that sometimes you need the Tonka truck. Sometimes you need a solid process because you have too many users in there and they need it super simple and so forth. But I would say that in the beginning, you don't know exactly what you need. So many customers don't come to the table ready with exactly all their actual requirements when they dig in. We iterate so many times with any customer we've worked with, and once they see how it can work at Smartsheet, they keep evolving it, which is the best part of our job, to keep making the solution more and more powerful and more sticky. But it's hard to do that in other applications. If you're trying to build a Tonka truck like that, odds are you're spending way more money. I've heard horror stories of customers working with big CRMs and spending $1 million more than they expected. Now, you may spend a little more with Smartsheet, but that may end up being $10,000, $20,000 more, and you'd be getting everything you were looking for because it's much more flexible. So when you're comparing solutions, I say first start with Smartsheet. Manifest what you're really needing, then evaluate it, because then you know your process well, and you can say, hey, now that I've formed my Lego car, can I buy a car out there that is doing all the same things? Because maybe you can't, but you didn't even know what you were looking for until you built it in Smartsheet. If you have questions on how we work with Smartsheet and how we design solutions like this, Feel free to leave questions in the comments below. And also, don't forget to subscribe.